Hello everybody, this is BJ.
Hey, I'm Aleatha.
And this is another episode of Off the Record. It feels like it's been 3 months or so.
It has. Well, I mean, it's been 9 days since I've been in office.
Right, and before today, the last time we saw each other was over 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, I have had such a drought. It has been pure misery in my head and my heart. I have missed you.
I know. I miss being here too. So it ain't fun being sick.
Our audience has missed you as well.
Have they though? I don't know about that. I don't know.
So we have both finally experienced COVID.
Yep.
Glad that's over. I mean, think about it though. 2 years this thing has been around and we just now got it.
Yeah.
And we weren't even with each other when it happened.
No, it was totally separate. My boyfriend got it too. My daughter did not get it. She never tested positive for it. But yeah, we were out with COVID. I mean, I've definitely been sicker in my life. But the worst part of it was that, to me, not that I didn't feel bad, I felt horrible. But the worst part of it to me was the isolation thing.
Oh, I hated my kids were in the same house and I couldn't hug them or squeeze them or love them or tuck them into bed or say their prayers or fix them a meal. It was, we are... Human beings definitely, if I've learned anything through this experience, we are definitely social beings. Yeah. We like communication. We like people. We like, well, I've questioned you sometimes about liking people. But
I like some people.
We like socializing.
I do like that. And it was the same for us. We tried to stay separate and tried to be safe through all of it too. And all I can tell you at the end of it all is, and I wouldn't make it in prison.
Well, the worst thing for me is I slept all the time, and I typically sleep 7. I need 7 hours. Mm-hmm. You know, not 6, not 10. I need about 7. Yeah. But I slept all the time for 3 days.
You're right. The when you hear people talking about like the fatigue and the lack of energy, that was really, really, really bad too. Really bad. And I was kind of laughing about it. Yeah, maybe it was yesterday, because I remember there was this one day, like the first day or two, when it was the worst, you know, and my boyfriend had fallen asleep in the chair, and I was sitting on the whole other side of the living room because, like I said, we were still trying to be as safe as we could. And I was sitting on the couch, just sitting there, just like this. The TV was on. He fell asleep, and I didn't realize it until afterwards, like later. But I sat on that couch in that spot without moving for an hour and a half. Like, I didn't get up. I didn't change the channel. I didn't have the energy to do anything but sit there. Right. And I just sat there and stared out the front door and just looked out the front door. And when I realized I had done that for that long, I could not believe it. Right. Like, I really could not believe it. And
I woke up twice I woke up last 2 mornings at 6 a.m. and I hadn't done that in over a month.
Yeah. Same for me. My body's pretty much conditioned now because I get up about 5:45. Right. And you're right. When I was sick, there was one day in particular that I woke up and my mind was blown because it was like 10 o'clock. And I don't ever do that, like even on the weekend, you know?
Well, it's over. And it's interesting because we talked about this morning, is that we both have had the first and second dose of a vaccine. Neither one of us have had a booster.
So don't nobody try to make no comments talking about get vaccinated. We have been vaccinated, okay?
Well, I question the term vaccination because vaccination to me implies that we can't get this thing or we're eradicating it, but it's really more of a mitigating factor, not a true vaccine. But I'm not a scientist, I don't know.
Right, I'm not a scientist either. I mean, I'm just a country girl from the south side of Lenore County, but what I do have is some damn common sense. Okay?
Right.
And it's like you said, we were talking about it this morning, and I'm going to just start calling it the fake vaccine.
The fake vaccine.
You know, when can we get a real vaccine? Because it's like I said this morning, when you got vaccinated for polio, you were vaccinated for the rest of your whole complete and entire life. You could not get the polio. Right. Here I am vaccinated. I done got the COVID. Right. Okay? So at what point does that go away? Because if it's not a real vaccine, then that means it's not going to last forever, which is why you got to get boosters. But you're only boosting what's not the real vaccine. So how many times are you going to get boosted?
Right, and the way the masks have worked, our local school board, just like a lot of school boards, went and changed it from no mask are required to mask are required. Well, there were some modifications, but basically they said you now have to wear a mask. But they met on a Monday night. Well, they didn't enforce it until Wednesday. So this is effective Wednesday. So a friend of mine was like, So I guess we don't have COVID on Tuesday. COVID's taking a day off on Tuesday. A lot of the policies that are surrounding this seem to be so asinine, almost antiquated, almost like I'm just going to show how good a job I'm doing, but then they either fall completely short or absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah, they're dumb. Period. Yeah. End of story. If masks are that important and are that preventative, which is questionable, then why wouldn't it be effective immediately? Mm-hmm. It's like there doesn't seem to be any common sense at play with anything that has to do with COVID and how things are being done and what the protocols are. Everything's confusing. If you get COVID and you start looking into it, you'll find out there's so many different things that people
Every
have to
symptom.
say.
If you chip your toenail, that's a symptom. I mean, it's just everything's a symptom. I looked it up. Like I had nasal drip. Like I felt sinusitis coming on, mm-hmm. and they wanted me to get tested for COVID, and I eventually did, and that turned out to be it. But if you look up, symptoms, coughing is, sneezing is, congestion is, but nothing about nasal drainage or drippage or anything like the symptom I was experiencing. Yeah. And then you had like some itch or something that was going on. I had
a rash that was like hives that was focused primarily on my hands and my feet. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason I got tested.
Right.
Because I had read something about some people experiencing that with COVID. And otherwise, I would have thought I just had a cold. Now, a couple of days into COVID, I would have felt much different because I didn't feel well at all.
Well, and I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression. We're not making light of it. It is serious. People have died from
sure.
it. But it's just some of the miscommunication from a policy standpoint has irked a lot of us and Americans to no end. And I'm ready to kind of move on with life. I mean, look, the first Monday of the business year, which is a day I love, mm-hmm. right? Like I get pumped. Like this is the brand new year. Got new goals. We're rocking. This is gonna be great. We're gonna rah 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 rah. I'm in bed, like asleep. Yeah. Like I could care less about business today. So I'm kind of glad to be back in the office. This is your first day back. So.
It is my first day back, and it felt good. And like I was telling y'all out there a while ago, I mean, I kind of expected a red carpet when I left my house this morning to welcome me back into the universe since I've been sheltered up all this time.
You are rocking that news quarter zip pullover, though. Limited edition.
Yeah. But no, it felt good. It feels good to be out.
Yeah.
It feels really good to be out.
Grace, my oldest daughter, we went to a field trip meeting the night before she was going back to school, and so we went to her school for this meeting, and she and I were in the car on the way back home, and she was like, we just had social, we were around people.
Yeah.
It was like we hadn't been around people for so long. It was like, oh my gosh, we just did that. Oh, that was so nice.
I need somebody to tell me why.
Uh-oh.
The first COVID test, you're going to know what I'm talking about. The first COVID test I went and got, it had one test in it. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I bought that test to the Walgreens.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have a lot of them. There was only a few of them left. They were incredibly hard to find this week. Apparently, a lot of more people are testing at home or whatever. The test cost $10.
Okay.
So I don't remember. I guess it was when my boyfriend was going to test for the first time a couple of days later or something. Anyway, we went to get more tests. Right? Mm-hmm. He went to get more tests. Same test. One test in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Different location.
Mm-hmm.
2 days later, 25 highway robbery dollars.
No way. Really?
Now, why is one test $10 and the same exact test 2 days later in a different place is $25? But let me tell you this. I also saw they had a test that had two tests in it. Okay, two tests in it.
Mm-hmm.
$60. That's $30 a test.
Wow.
Now, I feel like that's price gouging.
Yeah, it's interesting because they talk about free COVID testing, but when we were going through the rigors of getting tested from the home test to go to pharmacy, whatnot, or the doctor, the pharmacy was going to charge us $80 for it. The doctor didn't charge us anything for it. Walgreens pharmacy drove up, did one there. They didn't even take it. They didn't even have my driver's license or insurance card. They had no idea who I am, except for I said who I am on a form. So I don't know why the difference. It's just like the mask issue right now. There's this new thing about the only masks that are effective are the N95s or KN95s. But I'm hearing reports that there's a lot of price gouging going on masks.
I think they're price gouging the test. And I saw an article right after this happened that had to do with Walmart and Kroger, who were being accused of jacking up the prices on those at-home COVID tests. Mm-hmm. And I'm just here to tell you that I think that is mighty wrong of people to do that. Just like they, when they price gouge. You remember when we had the first flood in '99? Mm-hmm. There were issues with people who actually had like bags of ice that were charging $5 for a bag of ice, back then, which was ridiculous, but people were desperate for it. That should not be happening. It's absolutely ridiculous for them to be called. I mean, why can't we have the COVID test be like the pregnancy test? Mm-hmm. Okay, I can go to the Dollar General and get a pregnancy test for $1 and find out in 3 minutes if I've got a living, breathing human being inside of my body, and those $1, $5, $14, whatever you want to call the price of it, pregnancy test develop in 3 minutes and are accurate as a.
I don't know. This brought back some memories of us doing pregnancy tests too, because we did some at-home ones, and we were like just staring at the line. Is it going to be? Is it going to be solid? Is it going to be a faint? Is it going to be nothing? What's the control line? Is it the right color? It was interesting, but no, that's a good point. I think it should be that readily available. We'll see. I mean, it's very frustrating, but we're going to keep going on. We got a lot of stuff to do.
I'm going to tell you, and this is a whole nother deeper topic, really, if you think about it. But one of the articles we were reading was, how long do you expect someone to be sick with COVID now with the Omicron or whatever it's called? It was some kind of article like that. And one of the factors that they listed in that was your economic status.
Really?
Yeah, because how much did you spend on tests while you had
about $100?
And you just said one of the clinics was going to charge you $80.
Right.
The doctor wasn't going to charge you anything. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who live below the poverty line don't even have a primary care physician that they go to.
Right.
As wrong and terrible as it is, if they have some kind of medical need, they just go to the ER. Mm-hmm. They literally just put something out here in Lenoir County from the health people, from the hospital, I believe, that was telling people, if you think you have COVID, don't go to the ER.
Right.
You know why they're doing that?
Why?
Because they cannot afford to pay $80 for 4 people in their house to get tested.
So
that's an issue.
But there are a lot of free, like there's one today in our community, but there seems to be about weekly, whether it's our county or county over, some type of free get your vaccination, get your COVID test event that happens, but those have to be marketed. People have to be aware of it.
Yeah, and they're not doing a good job at that. I see people in the groups that we deal with all the time with work on social every single day, at least 2 to 3 times a day. Mm-hmm. I see people asking where that's happening at for their area. Mm-hmm. So they're not doing a good job of getting the word out for that kind of stuff. And they're saying, okay, like if you do an at-home test and you test positive, you need to go to your doctor. The only reason they're telling you to do that is so that the government will know.
Right.
That your number will be counted.
No,
that
right.
you have, whether you were vaccinated or not.
I had this conversation with Jessica this past week because the first test I took, I was positive, but that was a home test. My doctor didn't know. The health department didn't know, and it was like 3 days later that just to double check, or 2 or 3 days later I went double check that I went to a legit place. I can't remember if it was my doctor or a pharmacy or whatnot, but that's when I knew it got counted. You know why? Because the state of North Carolina, NCDHHS, then sends me an email, hey, you got it. This is what you need to do. We expect a phone call from this number. I get a phone call from the number. I didn't pick it up. But you know what they want to do? They want to do contact tracing on me. And I'm thinking, do you know everywhere I've been in the last 14 days?
Yeah,
I mean, I had a family event for Christmas in Garner with 30 people there. I had Busch Gardens. We went to Great Wolf Lodge. And then we came home, and then that was when we realized. So over a 14-day period, I could have been anywhere. They would have had to contact like 1,000 people. Like, give me. I didn't even answer. Like,
I didn't do that. That's why I refused to go to the doctor.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want my name in your database. I just don't want it in there. I do not need them that kind of involved in my personal business.
Your smartwatch there is sending the government information about.
It ain't telling the government whether I got COVID or not. Until this moment right here on this camera for this little show we're doing, the only people I told besides the people I work with was my mama and my sister.
Who you said were the best in the world.
They were the best in the world. My mama made me a big old pot of homemade chicken pastry.
Oh, yeah.
And cornbread. And then my little sister decided that she would be the one to drive it. And so she came and brought it and put it outside the house, and we stared at each other through the front door.
No.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We had 2 or 3 of those experiences too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you're right about the smartwatch, and, they can trace me and they can do all that, and I get all that. But, and they know the things I look up on Google and the things I'm shopping for or interested in, bars or clothes or whatever the case may be. But my health is a whole nother thing. I don't need them to trace me like that.
Right.
I don't trust that. There's
going to be a lot of people. Do you agree with Aleatha on this or not?
No.
Should the government know if you have a virus that could infect hundreds of people, or is that your own private matter?
That's my own damn private matter.
I'm curious what people say.
What did the government do once they found out you had COVID that helped you or anybody else?
They called me 3 times. They left me voicemails and sent me text messages, sent me 2 or 3 emails. They badgered me. Yeah. Because they wanted more information from me.
Not giving it to them.
I didn't.
Why? So y'all can track me down here in another 10 years when this stuff don't never go away, and the government starts going nuts, and then they want to gather up everybody.
They changed their policy based on political pressure. They went from 10 days to 5 days back to 10 days in a matter of 2 weeks.
Which we've already discussed was also some bull.
Yeah.
Even though I got the vaccine, even though I did it, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad I did it. I'm thankful I did it.
Me
because
too.
I do believe it would have been worse had I not had it. But it's still not a real vaccine. And there's just, I think maybe when I'm getting older, I'm becoming more of a conspiracy theorist and a lot less trustful of the government.
You're getting more ornery.
Mighty ornery, and I'm fine with it. I don't care. I saw a meme this morning that said, I used to walk into a room and be like, I hope these people like me. But now I walk in a room trying to figure out, do I like any of y'all? That's where I am in my life right now. But I do not trust the government because I ain't convinced that they're not going to come back one day and be like, those of you that got that first vaccine or whatever, like we're going to hoard all y'all up over here in this study camp or something like that. I don't know that it won't happen, but I can tell you that I'm going to make sure I'm ready if it does.
I just love me some you.
I'm just saying I'm going to make sure I'm ready if it does. I hope you got a gun. More than one.
I've got a few. So look, this was fun. Let's end it now because we're on a good note. Let's just end it. We've
you
got.
Ain't fussed about nothing. I did all the fussing.
I fussed a little bit, but no, it's fine. I love this. This is great.
All the fussing. You're supposed to do a fuss.
No, but this was a new off the record for the new year. Thank y'all so much. I'm BJ.
I'm Aleatha. Make sure you get the fake vaccine.
Bye.